All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. And right here, right now, we actually got a hip hop veteran in the building. We have K Banger right here, right now, man. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, DJ Immortal, what up? Outlaw Radio, what up? Canada, worldwide, what? Yo, DJ Immortal, I'm so hyped to be on here, brother. I really appreciate you reaching out to me, the love that you've shown. Oh, man, shouting out Balance Project, man. Just, yo, enough respect to you, brother, for real.
Hey, man, you are most certainly welcome. I'm definitely was definitely looking forward to chopping up with you as well, man. And I couldn't think of a better way to start off the month of November with these interviews, man. With interviewing a great individual like yourself.
Yo, that's peace, man. I really appreciate that, man. Yes, sir.
But Banger, I know you're a busy individual, man, so I'm going to dive right into this. But I got to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career this far, man. And I have to ask, what actually got you into the music industry initially? Like, what actually inspired you just to pursue this music, man? Because you're such a phenomenal
Man.
MC.
Oh, man. You know, it's funny you should ask that, man, because just this Sunday, I had a passing of someone very close to me, my grandmother, who we passionately called Boosie, whose parents were, or her mother, my great-grandmother was an accomplished organist and pianist, and my grandmother also had a short stint in music, but as she would explain, it got to her head, and as a result, she ended up pregnant at like 15, 16 years old. But, you know, my music comes from that side of the family. And my grandmother was a huge, huge influence in just how I listened to music, my introduction to music, my mom, you know, my mom's love for music and all of the introduction to music that I had through them. And it was major, man. It was major and family-wide. Even though we didn't have a lot of players and, you know, instrument players and things like that, or performers on that side, we had folks that embraced music in a very, very special way. And because of that, you know, this is why I've carried the torch in this kind of way.
And I do want to say first and foremost, man, my sincere condolences, man. I know darn well she is definitely going to be happy with every other accomplishment that you do from here on out, man, because honestly, you are a talented artist, man, so you're definitely going to be making her proud.
I respect that. I respect that. Thank you.
And also as well, man, in the year 2001, you actually released the phenomenal 13-track album titled Stillborn Lives on the label The Dirt Department Inc. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this earlier release project of yours, man, because it's absolutely phenomenal in my honest opinion.
For real. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. It's the few that know about that project is consider it like a little collector's item. It's kind of cool, man. I put a lot of effort into that project, and that project was, you know, it was backed by the Dirt Department, who my grandmother was a part of, and at that time, you know, Mark Amir, my brother AI, Mark Amir, and I were just looking for any outlet that we could, and we had just came off the high of working with my brother and friend Milk Blown, who at the time was dealing with Capitol Records and had a string of releases, and a couple after that, he was a little more well-known and had the machine behind him, and he was putting us on, but you know, that situation kind of went south, DJ Immortal, and you know, I was dealing with people that were a little more grassroots based and a little more underground, and I was blessed with an opportunity to get a couple dollars to put into the production and studio time and the things needed to put together this project, and we called it Stillborn Lives, and I called it that mainly because, or Stillborn Lives, whatever people wanted to call it. Mainly because, you know, at the time, people started calling me K-Bang at that time. But prior to that, my rap name was Stillborn. So people thought that I was out of the game. People thought that I fell off. But Stillborn Lives was a testament that I was still around and that I would be making my mark, regardless of what, you know, regardless if I had the backing or not, that we'd be here. And, Mark Amir, my man Theory, a.k.a. Keeman Bell, and DJ Knowledge, and the other producers and supporters behind that project, man, I'm still down with till this day.
And I do have to say, man, honestly, everyone's first project is always iffy to other individuals, man. But I honestly really enjoyed it, man. I really love listening to an artist's earlier projects and kind of working my way up, so you can just hear the growth, man. But the Edge of War Talk is definitely my favorite.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And also as well, man, you actually had the opportunity to actually work with Signs of Life, a phenomenal New Jersey trio, man, on the album The Book of the Dead, Coming Forth by Day. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about that, and of course, what was it like just being able to work alongside that phenomenal rap group?
Oh man, these are legendary rap gods, man. Shout out to Kane USA. One of the producers on that project who had a long relationship with them and brought me into the fold. I met them through Kane, and Kane had a big part to do with my overall industry experience, from working with Science of Life to working at Black Entertainment Television onward. And, when I met the brothers from Science of Life, we hit it off pretty quickly. And a lot of my approach to the studio and writing, and it was evolved by being amongst this family. These guys who just recently released their latest single influenced me a whole lot, and it was an honor working with them. It's an honor that I still work with them. I'll never have anything bad to say about John Robinson or ID4 Winds, and of course I gotta give a special rest in peace to my great brother Inspector Willoughby, who's not here with us now. Classic, DJ Moore, this is a classic piece of work, man. My brother Lifelong, Skit Slam, all of those featured on that album. Just great, phenomenal talent. Brothers that are still relevant to this day.
And if I'm not mistaken as well, I believe you actually did behind the scene work on John Robinson's "I Am Not for Sale" project as well.
Yes, I did. I actually mixed that project. John Robinson and I have the Science of Life crew and myself have a long string of releases and things that we've done, and I, of course, ventured more a little to the engineering side and other things behind the scenes, and I was very, very honored when John Robinson asked me to mix that project for him. I probably could mix it a lot better today, but the Science of Life, man, when it comes to their projects, man, they embrace the raw approach to the music. They are very keen on what their listeners like to hear, and they don't compromise what they do to industry norms. So, me putting my approach to it was very pleasing to him, and we have done other string of things after that. And, he has helped me along with things that I've done in my career. So, yeah, that's a very significant project, awesome project.
And also as well, you were actually a member of the group The Balance Project. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a story behind that group, and of course, how did you actually originally get connected with the other members?
Oh, with the Balance Project? Well, the Balance Project, man, is a powerful family from back home in Amboy, and I can't really remember how it all played out, DJ Immortal, but there was a time that I kind of went on hiatus from rap, due to the overwhelming work that I put into Stillborn Lives, and things didn't exactly pan out the way it did. So somehow I ended up just going back into my musicianship, and I ended up playing with some bands, and, I was playing some rhythm keyboard and reggae bands and things like that, and somehow I ended up on the drum set and just started playing. Thus the name K-Banger, that's where it came from. And we formed a collective back home in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, and we dubbed it the Balance Project. And we were backing my brother Triple Beam, who is also a very key member of Balance Project, along with Mark Amir and them. And we formed this band, and I was backing on the drums for Triple Beam, and Johnny Nunez on keys, and had my man Hoove on bass, of course, Danny Gonzalez on guitar, Menace, and Frank Gomez on Latin percussion, amongst other characters that we had rocking with us. And we, Chris the Mansman on guitar. We would come up with these original songs, and we played a couple gigs that were very key to me. But we would carry on that name within the rap realm. The rap realm was a little more accessible to us going in the studio and these songs, and we rep Balance Project as a collective of us that, kept music, hip-hop true to our hearts. And we carried that name all throughout different releases that we done with Floyd the Locksmith, and the other stuff that we did with Shaman Work under the leadership of John Robinson and Chris Kraft. And we still rep Balance Project to this day. A lot of us, still play music, but dabble in much bigger endeavors now. But as a collective, we still are always united and always connected, supporting the arts every day.
And I have to ask as well, man, did you actually think you guys are actually going to put out any new projects actually together as a group anytime soon? Or are you guys just going to obviously stay connected, but kind of go about your own solo careers as of now?
Yeah, I think that's a hard question to answer. I've had talks with Danny Gonzalez, who is well able to finance any project he wants to do right now. But I'm not. I don't run around this game with my hand out, and I'm not eager to take people's money and just spend it frivolously on things that doesn't make sense. So that's a hard question to answer, but I can assure you that we are still in the building, and if the right opportunity comes up, we'll do it. But the collective that I've managed to put more focus on is, of course, the Goat Squad, and that has flourished as a result. But I'll put it this way: once Balance Project is ready to drop something new, you'll be the first to know. I'm sure it'll be a super eclectic project with a whole lot of influences in it. You never know. You'll be the first to know if it happens.
And also as well, man, on July 10th of 2007, you actually released my personal favorite project by you, which is a 10-track album titled Truth Be Told. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this album, and of course, is it actually still available to be streamed or purchased today in 2022? To answer the second part of your question, it is available. You can search K-Banger Truth Be Told. You will find it under the Shaman Work label. But of course, Chris Kraft, being the man that he is, he has not slapped my wrist for taking some of those songs and putting it on other projects. So if you go to kbanger.com or you search my releases, some of that song is still available under my brand as well. So you can find it at kbanger.com, Spotify, and all the streaming platforms. So Truth Be Told was led by John Robinson and Chris Kraft under the Shaman Work label, which at the time I was label mates with greats like CL Smooth and MF Doom, and Aloe Black when he was working with Aloe Black was part of that too. The production boasts production of ID4 Winds, aka Invisible Hands, from Science of Life, my man Ricochet, of course, R&J Studios, recording studios in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. I did production on that record. I mean, it was the time was very electric. I recorded most of that album if not all of it, in Black Entertainment Television Studios across from CBS Studios in New York City, and the time couldn't have been better. It was just a good time for the project. It came together magically.
there's not much more of an explanation I can give than that. You know, shaman work backing the project, great press, great momentum. Unfortunately, we didn't go as far as what we expected to do, but that project did land me in the vicinity of the guys from 45 Scientific in Paris, who are also great affiliates. And, you know, DJ Immortal, I'm a story of a lot of artists. I'm sorry. I'm a story of a lot of incidents, situations that did not go all the way into fruition. So in that, I'd like to be an example to other artists that, you know, just because things don't go exactly the way you planned, you can still make your mark. You can still do your thing in this game, and you can still own it. So truth be told, man, this was a turning point for me in what I was doing in my career, and people are still discovering it today. And I really appreciate that you have acknowledged these releases as something relevant to you. It means a lot to me.
And also, man, you actually had the opportunity to perform live at the legendary Warped Tour for 2 consecutive years straight. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a story about this initial opportunity, and of course, what was it like performing 2 years straight at such a legendary festival like Warped Tour?
But you know, your timing is impeccable, brother. I just spoke to a friend of mine who is a band leader for a significant punk band out here in Orlando, Florida, called Dial Drive. And when he came to realize that I performed on this tour, he couldn't believe it. And when I told him that, yeah, you know, Rancid was the leading band 1 year, and Yellow Card, you know, was the next band, he was just amazed. And you know, being a part of that tour, which wasn't in its entirety. I performed a good amount of dates on the East Coast leg, and that was more than enough. I mean, it covered a lot of ground, a lot of people. I couldn't tell you how exactly that happened, but I managed to get on the bill and got out there, and I opened up for legendary acts like Atmosphere and Lords of Brooklyn, and you know, Ill Bill was out there, Nonfiction and them, you know, just real powerful memories when I think about that. You know, I can't tell you how it happened, but at the time when I was networking, Stillborn Lives, and really getting it out there, I made a lot of different connections on my own. I didn't, you know, DJ Immortal, I didn't have a manager. I didn't have a label at that time. I was just pounding the pavement to the best of my ability. I worked with local radio. I put out my own emails, and I used CD Baby for my distribution. And through all these efforts, these opportunities came, and I took advantage of them. And the Warped Tour was an experience, not only just playing that stage, the Code of the Cuts, but experiencing the music and seeing the subgenres that exist within genres. You know, this is mostly punk, rock, indie kind of tour, but they had so many stages, so many artists and talent that came from all over the country to perform. Looking back, you know, now that I can tell people about that experience and how it opens up their mind, see that I actually did that, you know, I'm glad that I had the opportunity to do that.
And I gotta say, it's quite sad to hear about the Warped Tour as well. How like it's no longer a thing anymore, man. It was such a groundbreaking festival that helped literally kick off the careers of so many individuals and bands at that as well.
It did. Good. I remember Good Charlotte, you know, getting recognized, and they had credited the Warped Tour as being the breaking point for their careers. And I can't say that I didn't think that just maybe we would get a break from playing that tour, but I did meet a ton of people. Even more than the connections I made, some of the words of advice that I got from individuals still resonate. You know, we traveled as Balance Project during that tour. K.R. Morales, who I forgot to mention before, who shame on me for not mentioning my brother KR Morales. For me, KR Morales and Triple Beam, we had a man, Big Jim Soprano, with us, and we just got out there, man. It was super memorable, super memorable. A lot of memories, a lot of great people we met and influenced, and for you to bring it up as the way you are today, just shows that it still resonates to this day.
And before we move off the topic of the Warped Tour, I have to ask, man, because obviously you did 2 years in a row. You were backstage with some of the best of the best. Did you get the opportunity to actually meet any of like the legendary punk bands or other fellow artists like yourself actually that performed, or did you get kind of like just your own separate dressing rooms?
Well, we didn't. The way the Warped Tour works, it's not so much like dressing rooms and things like that. I mean, for certain stages, perhaps. But this is, if you had never been to the Warped Tour, it's very much outdoors. People just, parking out in vans, and that's their tour bus. They're in the van, they're in the car. This was all the way grassroots, hardcore indie, man. And, naturally, yes, I did run into certain individuals. I didn't meet folks from the bigger bands that were on the bigger stages because they had, from what I understand, maybe umpteen amount of stages in that venue, wherever they were at. But you were elbow to elbow with them all at one point or another. And if you didn't meet them, then you got to see some of the performances, some that were not so well known, others that were more well known, like Flogging Molly and different bands like this. So it was just all encompassing. It was communal. It was perpetual. It's hard to explain the vibe of that tour, and now I see why, people still almost long for it to return, because I don't know I've been to a lot of shows, DJ Immortal. I've seen a lot of artists, and not, besides Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago, or Caravana in Toronto, Canada, have I experienced anything like the Warped Tour. The Warped Tour was just, you're neck and neck with everyone, and, kicking it with the Lords of Brooklyn and folks like this was just, it was normal, because they weren't, the dressing room was amongst the people. Everybody was amongst the people there, and that was the nature of the tour.
And also as well, man, on November 5th of 2022, you actually teamed up with Mike Hoffa to actually release the single titled Pay Dues. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about this collaborative single, and of course, where can we actually buy or stream it today?
Yes, you can simply go to kbanger.com to support all my releases, and if you put your email on my email list, you also got a free download of my release, Declassified, waiting for you. Mike Hoffa is a very integral part of the GOAT Squad, who I've been teamed up with and working with for the past 2 years. And, Mike Hoffa is an artist that I admire, and he gets around to working with just about everyone that he can. And, he, upon meeting him in person for the first time, we had already kind of been working with each other indirectly for over a year and a half. And then finally getting to meet with him and hearing some of the music he had to his access, he wanted to work on a collaborative effort that we've entitled Blue Collar Rap. And the first single off of this EP is Pay Dues, and it's very reminiscent of a classic boom bap era. But he also listens to music the way I do. I can get around to the boom bap, the trap, underground, the commercial, all styles of urban styles, all styles of music. Wherever hip hop can be embedded, we both can work on it. So we kind of teamed up in that regard, and that we enjoy the variety. And Pay Dues is very it's a testament to our approach to music. You know, blue collar rap. You know, we're proud to work our day jobs and do our music. You know, we don't differentiate from the two. We don't look at it as if we're aspiring. You know, we use it. We use these tools as a means to do our music freely without any kind of pressure whatsoever. And you know, Pay Dues has been embraced by hip hop lovers, and I would love for all of you and your listeners to enjoy it. You can check it out at kbanger.com, on Spotify, on all streaming platforms. Whether you check for Mike Hoffa or you check for myself, you're bound to run into that single for sure.
And I have to ask K-Banger, what is next for yourself, man? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during tonight's broadcast? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? Or we still got you here live on the FM dial this evening?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I have quite a few things in the works, and maybe it's a little too much to mention here. But what I would advise for your listeners is to, you know, again, man, get on kbanger.com and follow me on your preferred social media platform. You can join my mailing list again and get a free download of my album, Declassified, which features folks from Balance Project and otherwise. You know, I've been working closely with Goat Squad. I have a wonderful EP on deck with my brother True Words, entitled The Statement. We have Blue Collar Rap I'm dropping with Mike Hoffa, a slew of singles that's about to be released. Goat Squad will be performing December 3rd in Woodbridge, Connecticut. Man, DJ Immortal, I can go on and on and on. This train ain't stopping. We're going in. We're coming in strong for 2023. And you know, if you're on Facebook, you can check me out at K-Banger Music. The website is kbanger.com. The handle on Instagram is at Keith_K_banger. Twitter, you can follow me at K-Banger. You know, and all those handles are available on my site, kbanger.com, and you can just follow me, and you'll get the updates as things progress and as I continue my over 30-year musical journey.
I gotta say, man, 30 years is a long time, man, but 30 years definitely flies as well, man. And I gotta say, you've done a lot of amazing things in 30 years, man. I'm just excited to see what's to come from K-Banger in the next 10.
That's awesome, man. And, you know, I gotta tell you again, DJ Immortal, it means a lot, the way you reached out and how you promoted this, and your legacy in music, you know, in you being on this remarkable, groundbreaking station, the amount of talent that you've interviewed and are about to interview, it says a lot to your work, and I'm sure hip-hop appreciates everything that you've contributed and have done, and as always, I'm always here to support anything you need. I'm at your service.
And I gotta say, man, I greatly appreciate the kind words and whatnot, man. I just do what I do for the love of hip-hop, man, you know. At the end of the day, I'm just, I'm not really liking how the music industry is going these days, man. So I'm trying to bring authentic and realness back to the hip-hop community, man. And I'm going to try to do it one song and one interview at a time.
Yes, sir. That's integrity, and that's what it shines through your work. Absolutely.
I gotta say again, thank you so much, Banger, and of course, man, thank you so much for your time as well this evening, man. I hope you have a phenomenal week. I'm pretty sure down the line we definitely shall talk again soon, man. But for now, thank you again for this phenomenal interview, and I'm pretty sure we definitely shall cross paths again soon.
Absolutely. I'll be in touch. You'll be first to have all the new music, and to all your listeners, thank you for the support over all these years. Continue to support Outlaw Radio and DJ Immortal. Peace and love.
I appreciate you, man. Definitely have yourself a phenomenal night.
Peace.